Welcome to today's video about canned sardines versus fresh sardines. Which is better for you? Picture this. You're standing in the grocery store staring at two completely different versions of the same fish. In one hand, you're holding a sleek can of sardines that promises convenience and a 3-year shelf life. In the other, you're eyeing fresh sardines from the seafood counter, glistening with that unmistakable ocean freshness. Here's the million-dollar question that's been dividing health enthusiasts and food lovers for decades. Which one is actually better for your health? But wait, before you make that choice, here's something that might shock you. Recent scientific research published in Frontiers in Nutrition has revealed that sardines might actually be superior to fish oil supplements when it comes to cardiovascular benefits. We're talking about a tiny fish that could potentially outperform the supplement industry's billion-dollar darling. However, the plot thickens when we discover that the form you choose, canned or fresh, could dramatically impact the health benefits you receive. The sardine has been quietly staging a nutritional revolution. Sardines provide 2 grams of heart-healthy omega-3s per 3-ounce serving, which is one of the highest levels of omega-3 and the lowest levels of mercury of any fish. While salmon gets all the spotlight, sardines have been delivering superior nutrition at a fraction of the cost. Sardines, as a dietary source of N3PUFA, have shown benefits for blood pressure and lipid profile normalization, making them a powerhouse for heart health. But here's where it gets interesting and slightly controversial. The environmental sustainability factor makes sardines a clear winner in the eco-conscious food debate. Sardines with the MSC Blue Fish label are certified sustainable and can be traced back to a well-managed fishery. Unlike larger predatory fish that face overfishing concerns, sardines reproduce quickly and maintain stable populations. They're essentially the renewable energy of the seafood world. However, there's a hidden battle brewing between canned and fresh varieties that goes beyond simple convenience. The processing methods, nutrient retention, and even the packaging can influence everything from omega-3 content to mercury levels. Some studies have revealed surprising differences in mineral content between the two forms. On average, magnesium in canned sardines is reduced by 44%, zinc by 36%, and copper by 19% compared to fresh sardines. This revelation has sparked intense debate among nutritionists about which form truly reigns supreme. So buckle up, because we're about to dive deep into the sardine showdown that could change how you think about this underestimated superfood. The answer isn't as straightforward as you might think, and the stakes for your health are higher than you expect. Let's start with the elephant in the room, or should we say, the sardine in the can. Canned sardines have become the unexpected hero of busy lifestyles and emergency food prep. But here's something that might surprise you. Despite being processed, they pack an incredible nutritional punch that has made them a secret weapon among health-conscious consumers who know where to look. The convenience factor of canned sardines is undeniable. Canned sardines are ideal for on-the-go meals, emergency food storage, and convenience in meal prep. Imagine having a complete protein source that requires zero preparation, no refrigeration until opened, and can survive in your pantry for years without losing its nutritional value. We're talking about a food that laughs in the face of power outages and forgotten lunch plans. But here's where the plot thickens. The canning process itself might be more beneficial than you would expect. When sardines are canned with their bones, something magical happens. Some canned sardines don't have all of the bones removed, which can act as a bonus when it comes to nutrition. Those tiny bones are packed with calcium and vitamin D that play an important role in optimizing bone health as you age. The high-pressure canning process actually softens these bones, making them completely edible and turning your canned sardines into a calcium powerhouse. 100-gram sardines offer 382 milligrams per day of calcium, which accounts for 38% of the recommended dietary allowance. However, not all canned sardines are created equal, and this is where smart shopping becomes crucial. The liquid your sardines swim in can make or break their health benefits.
Sardines are often packed in soybean or vegetable oils, which are heavy omega-6 fatty acids. These acids are inflammatory to the body when out of balance with omega-3s. This means that while you're trying to boost your omega-3 intake, you might inadvertently be working against yourself with pro-inflammatory oils. The solution? Look for sardines packed in water or high-quality olive oil. The processing also creates an interesting phenomenon with sodium content. While canned sardines are highly nutritious, they do contain high sodium. But here's a life hack that most people don't know. Simply rinsing your canned sardines can significantly reduce their sodium content while maintaining most of their nutritional benefits. There's another hidden advantage that might shock you: the omega-3 stability. While fresh fish omega-3s can degrade rapidly when exposed to air and light, the controlled environment of canning actually helps preserve these delicate fatty acids. Recent research has shown that sardine consumption can switch the O3I from intermediate to lower risk of mortality associated with coronary heart disease, with canned varieties showing consistent results. The affordability factor cannot be ignored either. A can of sardines is usually less expensive than a jar of specialty supplements, making it an accessible superfood for virtually any budget. You're essentially getting pharmaceutical-grade nutrition at grocery store prices, which explains why sardines are gaining recognition as a food-first approach to supplementation.
Now, let's talk about the crown jewel of the sardine world: fresh sardines that practically shimmer with ocean essence. If canned sardines are the reliable workhorse, fresh sardines are the thoroughbred racehorse of the seafood world. But the question that's keeping nutrition experts up at night is whether that premium experience translates to superior health benefits. Fresh sardines offer a culinary experience that canned varieties simply cannot match. Fresh sardines, known for a delicate, slightly sweet flavor with a mild brininess, are ideal for grilling, baking, or adding to pasta dishes. The texture is firm yet tender, and the flavor profile is complex, simultaneously rich and clean, with none of the sometimes overwhelming intensity that can characterize canned options. Fresh sardines are better quality than canned sardines because they are often caught and sold locally. They tend to have a better, milder, and sweeter taste. But here's where fresh sardines reveal their true superiority: in the preservation of heat-sensitive nutrients. Fish and seafood products also contain high concentrations of long-chain omega-3 fatty acids, docosahexaenoic acid, DHA, and eicosapentaenoic acid, EPA. These omega-3s have multiple beneficial health effects when consumed fresh. However, they are highly susceptible to thermal or heat processing and as a result are significantly degraded in the canning process. This means that fresh sardines deliver omega-3s in their most potent, bioavailable form. The mineral profile tells an equally compelling story. Fresh sardines are healthier than canned sardines because they are lower in sodium and contain nutrients that may be lost in processing. When you consider that processing can reduce magnesium by 34%, zinc by 36%, and copper by 19%, fresh sardines start looking like the nutritional equivalent of a luxury car compared to the economy model. However, fresh sardines come with their own set of challenges that might make you reconsider. The sourcing question becomes critical. When shopping for fresh sardines, go to a reputable fishmonger and don't be afraid to ask questions about the origins of the fish. Unlike canned sardines with standardized processing and safety protocols, fresh sardines require more vigilance about quality and handling. The sustainability angle reveals another layer of complexity. The Monterey Bay Aquarium Seafood Watch recommend that people avoid eating the European pilchard, which people often refer to as a sardine, as it may not be ecologically sustainable. This means that with fresh sardines, you need to be more conscious about species identification and sourcing to ensure you're making environmentally responsible choices. Here's something that might surprise you about preparation. Fresh sardines require more than just cooking knowledge. People should gut fresh sardines and rinse them under cold running water before preparation. This additional step, while providing fresher taste,
also introduces opportunities for cross-contamination if not handled properly. The availability factor presents another real-world challenge. Sardines can be available year-long. However, fresh sardines are mostly available during the warm seasons, between May and October. In addition to that, during that season, sardines consume the most amount of food and become fatter and tastier. This seasonal limitation means that your access to peak-quality fresh sardines is limited to specific times of the year, unlike the year-round consistency of canned options.
Now comes the moment of truth, the head-to-head nutritional showdown that will determine the ultimate winner in our sardine battle. The results might surprise you, because when it comes to nutrition, the story isn't as black and white as fresh is always better narrative that dominates most food discussions. Let's start with the omega-3 powerhouse comparison. Sardines provide around 1,463 milligrams of EPA and DHA, combined, per cup of canned Atlantic sardines, or 982 milligrams per 3.5 ounces. This puts sardines in an elite category of omega-3 density that rivals or exceeds most other fish options. However, here's where it gets interesting. While fresh sardines may have slightly higher omega-3 levels due to minimal processing, the difference is often smaller than you'd expect, especially when you factor in the real-world variables of handling and storage. The protein profile reveals fascinating insights. Sardines are denser in nutrients than tuna. It contains about 11% fat, 25% protein, 60% water, and 4% other nutrients. Both fresh and canned sardines maintain this impressive protein density, making them excellent choices for muscle maintenance and satiety. Tuna and sardines provide 36 to 39% of the daily value for protein, putting sardines in the elite protein category regardless of their form. But here's where canned sardines stage their comeback, the calcium content story. Canned sardines, higher in calcium and phosphorus because the bones are softened and edible, enhancing their nutritional profile. This isn't just a minor advantage. We're talking about a dramatic difference. You eat fish bones and skin when you eat canned sardines, and they are an excellent source of calcium, providing about a third of the amount needed by the average person in each serving. Fresh sardines, unless you're comfortable eating bones, simply cannot compete in this category. The vitamin profile reveals another layer of complexity. Sardines are higher in water-soluble vitamins A, D, E, and K, as well as vitamins B2, B5, B9, and B12. The amount of vitamin B12 found in sardines is about 3.8 times higher than that of tuna. However, the processing impact on these vitamins varies significantly. Some nutrients may diminish slightly due to the heating process during canning, particularly heat-sensitive vitamins like vitamin C and some B vitamins. The mineral story gets even more complex when we examine specific elements. On average, magnesium in canned sardines is reduced by 44%, zinc by 36%, and copper by 19% compared to fresh sardines. This seems like a clear win for fresh sardines, but there's a catch: the bioavailability factor. The canning process may actually make some minerals more easily absorbed by the digestive system, potentially offsetting some of the numerical losses. Here's a game-changing factor that most people overlook: the consistency and safety profile. Several studies have concluded that the low level of mercury found in sardines is of low risk to consumers, including pregnant women who were previously advised to avoid fish during pregnancy because of possible contaminants. Canned sardines benefit from standardized processing that ensures consistent safety testing, while fresh sardines may have more variable mercury levels depending on sourcing waters. The sodium consideration cannot be ignored, particularly for individuals with cardiovascular concerns. Canned sardines are a more convenient option because they are easy to use and store. They are an alternative for people who don't have the time to prepare fresh fish. They also have a long shelf life and can last in the pantry for many years.
While canned sardines are highly nutritious, they do contain high sodium. However, this sodium challenge isn't insurmountable, and simple preparation techniques can address it effectively.
After examining all the evidence, weighing the nutritional benefits, considering practical factors, and analyzing the latest research, it's time to render the final verdict in our sardine showdown. But here's the twist. The answer isn't a simple winner-takes-all conclusion. Instead, it's a sophisticated strategy that depends on your specific health goals, lifestyle, and circumstances. For maximum omega-3 potency and mineral preservation, fresh sardines edge out their canned counterparts. Fresh sardines are healthier than canned sardines because they are lower in sodium and contain nutrients that may be lost in processing. If you have access to high-quality, sustainably sourced fresh sardines and the culinary skills to prepare them properly, they represent the gold standard for sardine nutrition. The thermal processing that creates canned sardines does impact some nutrients, particularly heat-sensitive vitamins and certain minerals. However, canned sardines stage a remarkable comeback when we consider real-world practicality and specific nutritional needs. Both studies independently revealed that habitual sardine consumption can switch the O3I from intermediate to lower risk of mortality associated with coronary heart disease. And this benefit applies to both fresh and canned varieties. For bone health specifically, canned sardines with bones actually surpass fresh sardines due to the edible calcium-rich bones that the canning process creates. Here's the strategic approach that health experts are increasingly recommending. Use both forms complementarily. Research published in the 2021 Journal of Clinical Nutrition explored the impact that consuming sardines twice a week had on older adults diagnosed with prediabetes. In this randomized and controlled clinical trial, scientists found that subjects who received sardines as part of their nutrition program had a significantly lower risk of developing type 2 diabetes compared to those in the control group. This benefit was achieved using canned sardines, proving that processing doesn't eliminate the fundamental health advantages. For emergency preparedness and consistent nutrition, canned sardines are unbeatable. After opening, can be refrigerated and used within a few days, which is still significantly longer than fresh sardines. They provide reliable nutrition year-round, regardless of seasonal availability or geographic location. For busy professionals, parents, or anyone who values convenience without nutritional compromise, canned sardines offer an elegant solution. The sustainability angle adds another layer to the decision matrix. The various types of sardines are considered to be sustainable because they are plentiful and are low on the food chain. But the reality is a little more complicated. Both fresh and canned sardines can be sustainable choices, but canned sardines with MSC certification provide clearer traceability and sustainability assurance. For optimal canned sardine selection, follow these evidence-based guidelines. Choose sardines packed in water or high-quality olive oil to avoid inflammatory vegetable oils. To limit your exposure to pro-inflammatory oils, look for sardines that are packed in spring water. Look for no-salt added versions when possible, and rinse your sardines before consumption to reduce sodium content. The mercury factor strongly favors sardines, regardless of form. With small fish like sardines, however, the news is a lot better. They don't feed on other fish. They feed on plankton, microscopic plant-like creatures which flourish on a diet of sunlight and nutrients that fall to the bottom of the ocean floor. What that means for you is a much healthier protein on your plate. This makes both fresh and canned sardines safe choices for regular consumption, including for pregnant women and children. The final recommendation: if you enjoy cooking and have access to quality fresh sardines, incorporate them during peak season for maximum nutritional benefits and culinary enjoyment. For consistent, year-round nutrition, convenience, and bone health benefits, high-quality canned sardines should be your go-to choice. The ideal approach combines both, with canned sardines forming the foundation of regular consumption and fresh sardines providing seasonal variety and peak nutrition. And there you have it, the complete breakdown of the great sardine debate that's been simmering in nutrition circles for years. Whether you choose the convenience and consistency of canned sardines or the peak nutrition and culinary experience of fresh sardines, you're making a powerhouse choice for your health. Remember, the best sardine is the one you'll actually eat regularly, and both forms deliver impressive omega-3s, protein, and essential minerals that can transform your health profile. The research is clear. Sardines, whether fresh or canned, represent one of the most sustainable, affordable, and nutritionally dense foods available to us. As most recommendations currently available are based on an indirect rationale of the physiological actions of the nutrients found in sardines, randomized clinical trials are warranted to expand the evidence on the benefits of sardine consumption. The evidence continues to build for this underappreciated superfood. If this video was helpful, kindly type yes in the comment. That motivates us to produce more content like this. Don't forget to hit that like button if you learned something new about sardines today. It really helps us reach more people who could benefit from this information. Share this video with anyone who's been wondering about the best way to get omega-3s without breaking the bank or relying on supplements. And of course, subscribe and ring that notification bell so you never miss our evidence-based nutrition breakdowns that cut through the confusion and deliver the facts you need to make informed health decisions. Thank you for joining us on this deep dive into the sardine world. Now go forth and make informed choices about these incredible little nutritional powerhouses.